Welcome to the 24K Life Podcast. I am your host, Derick Gant, and we are here as consistently as we can to deliver and bring you ideas, concepts, insights, tools, techniques, and most importantly, people that can help you change the game. You know, knowing what to do and actually doing it, two different things. So we like to think that if you come and check out our podcast, we're going to not only show you and tell you what you could be doing, we're going to tell you how to do it. And we're going to tell you in a way that doesn't completely disrupt your life so that you can implement these tools, techniques, and ideas in order to improve, to level up, to be more of what you are truly supposed to be. I simply ask that you like, share, and subscribe. And if you find value in our guest today, Mr. Greg Kuhn, we want you to go check him out. He is a dynamic individual that is bent. He is bent. That means seriously intentional on helping people to elevate and increase their lives. He is the manifesting guru. We would think of a better nickname for him before the show is over with, but he's the manifester. So he's going to show you how to manifest. And people throw that word around a lot, but he's got a lot of experience, has a diverse background. And, you know, if anybody can give you some insights, I believe it's Greg. So let's meet Greg. Let's add him to the show. Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Hey, Derick. Really exciting to be here with you today.
I'm excited to be here with you too. We were talking about how we connected and we couldn't really figure it out. But you manifested this shit, bro. You just say I manifested getting on the show because that's what you're all about. So I understand that you are an author of 9 books.
Correct.
You are a speaker, a coach, a teacher, a friend. It sounds like you cover the gamut, brother.
I work hard. I try. I'm like you. I stay busy. You know, Derick, you know this as well as I do. If you want to get something done, give it to a busy person, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I will say that as the older I get, the less I add to my plate and the more I focus on the big things. You were just telling me about the 3 big things that people come to help you or ask you for help with. And I focus on the big things and try to go vertical versus lateral, right? I mean, it's like instead of going horizontal, let's go deep, let's go vertical. And today I am excited, and now I know why I agreed to have you on the show so quickly with so little information about you, because not only am I interested in manifesting, most people have heard this term, they've heard about abundance, they've heard about prosperity, heard about positive thinking, they've heard about higher vibrations, they've heard about manifestation, but I've never met a manifestation coach. So, but I do want people to understand who you are before they really dive in to understand, to listen, to take notes, and to figure it out. So, you know, you've written 9 books. Are they all on manifestation?
They are all on manifestation. Some of them are more niched in their focus. Have a book on relationships, another book on fitness or weight loss, to be more specific.
Okay.
You know, what can I say, Derick? I write a book when I have a book in me. And
okay.
So as long as there's a book in me, there's going to be a book that gets written.
So let me ask you this question, man. It's loaded. I'm telling you up front, it's loaded. Just so you know, you don't think I'm an asshole. I'm telling you it's loaded up front. Do you manifest weight loss or do you just get disciplined?
You know, that's a great question, because I actually was talking to a rock star coaching client yesterday. We had a session, and you know, on a quantum level, Derick, there's no such thing as cause and effect. You don't need a cause to have an effect on the quantum level, and you can't even rely on effects with certain causes. You know, of course, not as we experience it here in 4-dimensional space-time.
Okay.
As cause and effect is very powerful here. I'm an avid runner. And running keeps me in very peak physical shape. Mm-hmm. However, it's not actually the physical act of running that does it. the act of running allows me to believe that I can be.
I love this. I love it. I love it already. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I'm just like, I love it. Go ahead. Keep going, man.
No, the power of belief. Okay. And by the way, you talked about being a manifesting coach. For me, being a manifesting coach means that I go deeper. When I talk about growing beliefs, when I talk about helping people grow their beliefs, I'm going deeper than the things that are in our conscious awareness, right?
Right.
The things that I think about on a moment-to-moment basis during my day, and the things that I choose to think about and focus on. I'm talking about the beliefs we inherited when we were little children that we had no say-so in.
Right.
We had no say-so in. People tend to find me when they've been banging their head against a glass ceiling for too long in a really important part of their life. And it's just become too painful. It's too frustrating because, Derick, I guess I'll ask you a question. I call them the hard to reach areas, of our life: health, wealth, love, relationships, career, parenting. These parts of our lives that are so integral to our concept of fulfillment,
right?
As a human being. I've never had much success in pretending to care less about those areas of my life when I'm not manifesting them the way that I truly desire. Have you ever been able to do that?
No, not at all. I mean, you have to care about it. It has to be in your awareness for you to address it, or even from a belief standpoint, even as a non-believer, you say, well, my money's funny. It's going to stay funny if you just forget about it, because you're going to keep the same habits. But dude, I really like the idea of attacking the beliefs that you didn't grow. Even the ones that you did grow. I mean, that was dope with the way you answered that question. So, I want to really get into beliefs, because do you believe that people get what they believe or what they know?
That's a great question. Very short, quick physics answer to that. To start with, every single human, I call us consciousness possessing space-time events. Okay. To me, it's fun to talk like that. So, but every human being, we all collapse the infinite potential of the vast field of energy from which all of this emerges, including us. We all collapse that energy field in every moment of our lives. Each one of us, Derick, Greg, everyone watching and listening, is manifesting their own unique version of the world, of life, in every moment of their life. There's no opt out of that. And I'm speaking scientifically here, Derick. I'm not, a lot when we talk about quantum physics and the tools that it gives us, the leeway it gives us, the influence, the ability to influence our lives that it leads us toward. It can sound like I'm reading from a new age self-help book.
Right.
Nothing against new age self-help books, but I'm saying, scientifically speaking, there's no opt-out of manifesting your own unique version of reality in every moment. We only have one choice when it comes to this, and that is, do I want to manifest this unique version of reality by default, or do I want to manifest it more intentionally? Now, I think I can probably speak for you and everyone else when I say, when it comes to those hard to reach areas of our lives, we can't be too intentional about how we manifest them.
Man, that's just interesting, bro. I mean, it's like, I didn't realize that I was going to get so excited about this conversation. And we haven't even started talking yet. Because, basically, you're saying, I'm backing up a little bit because I don't want you to think I'm not paying attention because I'm paying very close attention. But basically, you're saying like, it doesn't matter if you take an Advil or not. You can take the Advil, but in the act of taking the Advil, will eliminate your headache if it's an Advil or a sugar pill.
That's one of a fascinating topic, Derick, and you probably know all about this. Placebos are so incredibly fascinating, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Here's one thing, just in case anyone listening hasn't heard this about placebos.
Yeah, let's tell us, man. I have, but that's why you're here, because you're I keep my expertise in finance. And so that's why I have amazing people like you on. Even though I understand it, even though I know about it, I stay in my lane.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's you know what? And not to go off on a sidetrack, but
no, go for it.
Every moment of our life is an opportunity for us to bring God to life, or love, or energy, or light, whatever we want to call it. Or sometimes we could call it the quantum field or the one consciousness, what have you. But the placebo thing. Do you know that in maladies that placebos are effective in treating, if you tell the patients that they're taking a placebo before they take it, it doesn't reduce the effectiveness of the placebo.
Oh, wait a minute. I did not know. Are you serious? How is that possible?
Exactly. How is that?
How is that for my headache?
It is possible because I want to share a metaphor with you.
Okay.
Everything, you, me, and if we look around wherever we are sitting right now, every single thing we see and know about, this is all energy. Mm-hmm. It's energy that is temporarily abandoning a pure energy state to have a momentary experience of existence in this plane.
Right.
However, we don't abandon our energy state. We can go down some quantum rabbit holes, and talk about this, but we don't have unlimited time. So a good metaphor for this is humans. We are very unique entities here, as far as we know,
right?
In the fact that we have consciousness and we have a certain amount of agency within, four-dimensional space-time. The fact that we're energy, though, means that human beings, we are islands in an archipelago. That's the metaphor.
Okay.
And an archipelago, and in my former career, I did spend some time as a geography teacher, so I threw words around like archipelago. That's a geography term.
Okay.
And most people, when they hear that term, if they've been familiar with it, they think of a chain of islands in the Pacific Ocean,
right,
or in an ocean. Well, here's the thing. An archipelago isn't a chain of islands. An archipelago is a massive underwater landmass that is breaking the surface in a few points. And where it breaks the surface, those are the islands.
Okay.
Well, we are the part of that one consciousness. We are the part of God, the one consciousness, the quantum field, the unified field of energy, whatever we want to call it. We are the part of that.
Okay.
That is breaking the surface and having an above the surface experience. But we never stop being a part of the one consciousness. So the connections that we can tap into are immense and powerful, and also have been verified through double-blind research in academic settings. This is not hypothetical.
Okay.
We don't create those connections which allow us to have influence over our material experiences. They're there, right, whether we believe it or not. But
you got to narrow this down to the placebo that you were telling me about, because you're saying to me that I'm assuming what you're saying is that from a pure perspective, we're all connected. We all have the same energy. We get to decide when we want to dilute it or not. And so, but let's get to this specific. I love the conversation, and I do want to go big. I really do, but we got to answer this one particular deal. So, how does the sugar pill? You tell me you're giving me a sugar pill,
right,
for my headache. So I know I'm taking a sugar pill, according to what you're telling me. You tell me I'm taking a sugar pill. I take the pill, my headache goes away. How the hell does that work?
So that's a very, very clear example of manifesting a different version of reality by intention, right?
Okay.
How do we do that? Well, because we're all just islands in an archipelago.
Right.
Just want to stick with that metaphor there.
Nope, I got you.
And the pen you're holding in your hand is also an island. It's just a much more inert island than you are. Okay.
Right. Yep.
What that means, scientifically speaking, is that every single thing here is just a different perspective of the same thing.
Okay.
So can we change what we're manifesting? Yeah, we can manifest wellness from a placebo because we are changing our reality by all we have to do is change ourselves to change our reality.
I get that, man. But what you said was, so we know that taking a sugar pill, this is not new information. We know that taking a placebo, I keep saying sugar pill because it's easy for people to understand. So I get that taking the placebo has a great effect. But I don't get it having a great effect if you tell me it's not medicine that's supposed to fix me. That part I don't get.
Well, I don't.
How does it still work?
Right. I can't quote you chapter and verse.
No, I don't want you to quote me. Just give me the big picture. Is it just the fact that you're talking to the doctor? I mean, what happens? What pops off in our universe that we start manifesting healing, knowing that this particular thing isn't supposed to help us?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is the rank power of belief.
Okay.
The power of belief trumps even action. I mean,
so you're saying if I take this pill, even though you told me it's not the right pill, but I believe it's going to help me, then so they still have to believe it's going to help them.
It has to do with the setting, the set and the setting,
okay,
and the belief that the participants have in the entire concept of what they're participating in. It starts at a macro level and then comes down to the individual, and they have immersed themselves into a process and a setting that for them is so anointed with the ability to heal, the prospect of healing, that is enough. Now, does that mean, should somebody eschew traditional medicine to pursue changing their beliefs as a way to heal themselves? I would never advocate that. I will say, however, that one of the takeaways from our sugar pill story here is when we are availing ourselves of medicine, we should take care to be very intentional and careful consumers of it.
Right. I agree with that. When I am training for myself, and most importantly, when I'm training for other people, and I don't train a lot of people. I mean, usually I get a couple kids here and there that want to work out with me because of whatever reason. But I tell them, I said, listen, you got to continuously think about the muscle that you're supposed to be working at this exact moment. Right. So if are you thinking about, if you're doing chest, are you thinking about this muscle right here? Are you thinking about, are we doing a workout for the outside, underneath, above? I mean, think about it, because that intention is going to be most effective, or the results of doing the action is going to be most effective if you're really, really focusing on that. Kind of what you're saying here, man. This just, dude, I hate to say this because it's irrelevant, but we've been talking for dang near 20 minutes. And I'm just as giddy as I was when we said hello. And it seems like we've been talking for 5 minutes, I guess is my point. So let me ask you a different question. Actually, I'm going to ask you the same question in a different way. So have you manifested the life that you have you chosen the life that you are living? Have you manifested it?
100%. I
Well,
want to
okay,
say
let me
this,
rephrase that. So I
please.
know you've manifested it, but is it the life that you want or your dreams or whatever the case may be?
You know what, Derick? I'm nowhere close to my dreams. You know why?
Why? Take
Because
this
my
one slow
dreams
because this
continue.
is important. I
Well,
like
my
this.
dreams continue to grow and evolve.
Okay.
And as I have been, as I manifest uh, parts of my life more in alignment with my desires for them, I have always found that doing that unlocks not only desire for more,
Mm-hmm.
but a motivation and an encouragement to continue to go for more. And when I say more, I mean more fulfillment, more joy, more intimacy, more success, defined in many different ways. However, I have and do continue to intentionally manifest amazing fatherhood experiences, a soulmate, wealth, health, fitness. And that doesn't mean, just want to make sure I say this,
All right.
share this out loud. That doesn't mean that my life is a nonstop trajectory of, victory
Right.
and success.
He's for those of you that are just listening and not watching, he's showing you the stock market chart. I'm a registered investment advisor, so he's showing you the northeast trajectory of life. He's saying it doesn't just go straight up. It doesn't just do that. So let me ask you about let's pick relationships, okay? Because you mentioned I've written down so many questions for you already, but I don't even know if we're going to get to them all, so we might have a part 2. But let's take relationships. I was married for 20 years, got divorced. I was single for a couple years. I dated someone for a couple years, and then I was single for 4 or 5 years. And I actually have someone that is incredibly special to me right now, that I love. But there's so many people who don't have a relationship that are dying. Dying is probably the wrong word, but that desperately want a relationship. How do they manifest that, in your opinion? Because we're if you want a great relationship, there's a lot of crazy people out here that look normal, that have weird, we know this because of the laws that we pass and all the different things to try to help people stay somewhat normal. But long story short, how does what you're saying as far as manifestation play in the realm of relationships?
That's a great question. Derick, part of my morning preparation routine, I do freeform journaling to journal myself into vibrational alignment or energetic alignment with the opportunities that each moment of the day is offering me. And I also write down my list of goals for the day, things that I want to accomplish. And the first thing I write down always is to spend time with my partner, my soulmate, because I get so much out of that. A primary or romantic relationship, however we want to label it, is such a great platform for us to practice and demonstrate being the person that we want to be, being who we think of ourselves as.
Right.
And so relationships are such a common glass ceiling area. I'm a good person. I have great intent. I only want the best. I work hard. I give it my best. And yet here I seem to, keep finding myself involved with dishonest people or, what have you. Right. I mean, it can be very, very discouraging
Right.
And then on top of that, we hear somebody like Greg Kuhn comes on and says, hey, you're manifesting your own unique version of reality in every moment of your life. So, are you telling me then I'm the one that's manifesting these dishonest people I keep running into, where these relationships don't work and I trusted them? And I'm saying, well, no, you're not.
Okay.
You're not manifesting that.
No?
Well, I'm being kind of tricky with my words here.
Obviously.
Your beliefs, the beliefs you inherited as a small child, and I use the term inherited very intentionally.
Right.
Because you didn't pick out those beliefs. You were a little kid. You weren't enabled with that kind of authority. Plus, you wouldn't have anyway. And we all needed beliefs. To have this experience, it's predicated on beliefs, and I'm talking about beliefs in like knowing the first thing we were taught, the difference between light and dark, contrast. Right. And then we were taught height, width, depth. Why? Oh, now because we have these beliefs, we can manifest a physical world. Oh, okay, and then it goes from there.
Right.
So we're carrying these beliefs, and they are beliefs. I mean, we're talking about relationships, right?
Right.
So our beliefs, those beliefs we got as kids, right? I'm not talking about a really cool thing that I read 2 days ago in a wonderful book that now is really important to me, and I'm walking around and I'm thinking about it. Mm-hmm. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the stuff we inherited as little kids that manifests the form. And for those just listening, I'm holding up one finger for his
pinky,
one.
But it was his pinky, now it's his index.
Those beliefs we inherit, they manifest the form of our reality, the function of our reality, the meaning of our reality, and the value of our reality. Everything in here. So, okay, so let's say this, and and I'm talking about how to manifest a relationship differently. Is to understand that, let's say I'm growing up and maybe I was a little chubby as a kid, and my mom was like, oh, hey, Greg. And my mom really, really had this very sincere and loving belief that I should not be chunky because there's things I can do about it. I don't have to be chunky. She doesn't want me to be chunky. She doesn't want me to get made fun of at school, whatever her fears are. And so she really is, I'm gonna help Greg not be chunky, and she kind of uses tough love with me. She just, to the best of her ability, hey Greg, you really, whatever, like a variety of techniques she uses with me for whatever reason. What I get out of that, maybe it's how she says it. I mean, she's doing her best, but what I wind up pulling out of that is I need to be slimmer to make my mom happy with me. Okay?
Right. Of course. I've seen that one happen.
All right. So okay. That's a belief I inherited from my mom. And then I go out into adulthood. Well, I'm not with my mom anymore. And now I'm a grown up. I can make my own decisions. How's that belief impact my relationships? Well, by the way, I'm speaking completely hypothetically here. I would never be speaking about my own experiences. I'm saying that kind of sarcastically.
Of course. So
I go out into the world, and one of the things I start to meet women, and I'm forming relationships, and I transfer that belief seamlessly. It's not intentional, it's not conscious, because these beliefs, they're stored in my subconscious.
Right.
I'm not aware of them. They are manifesting my world, though. And so I meet a woman, and I know right away, one of the most important things here is I have to make my partner happy with me for me to be okay.
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with my mom anymore. I just put somebody else right in her place. And it doesn't have anything necessarily to do with my weight. I just put something else right into its place.
Right.
I don't think about this. I don't even know it's happening, but it is happening. And here's the thing. I don't coach, if you read my books, listen to podcasts, come to my Facebook group, join my newsletter, immerse yourself in my coaching, any of these ways of engaging with me, I'm not going to say, Derick, you need to go back and you need to find out what those beliefs are.
Yeah, what happened to little Derick back in the day?
Right. That's a whole industry right there, and I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
Right? I've gotten great help from therapists throughout at different points in my life. They've been wonderful help. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is simply when I, in my life, am experiencing that kind of feedback, like because I'm a divorced man. I became overnight a single father of 3 young boys.
Mm-hmm.
It crushed my world.
Right.
And when I'm manifesting a reality like that, which is 100% the polar opposite of what I'm desiring.
Of course.
I desired a wife that will stick with me and love me and, all those things, right? And I was giving my best.
Right.
So when I'm manifesting reality like that, which I highlighted all that stuff because, it'd be different if, anyway, we don't need to go off on.
No, I got you. I got you. I follow.
So I'm manifesting reality like that. It sucks. What does that mean? It means that my default manifesting has reached the limits of its effectiveness for me. The inherited beliefs that I carry into this moment, they are incapable of manifesting a version of life in this part of my life that matches with my desires for it. And when that happens,
no, man, I can cut you off, man.
We can manifest it intentionally. And I hear you. I'll shut up, let you go. Go, Derick.
No, I'm gonna cut you off because so the question then becomes, how did you reset? How did you say, okay, well, I've tapped out on what I can manifest in that area, so I need to learn more, understand more, be more open, something along those lines. How did you do that for yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, that's beautiful. The answer to that is this beautiful part of life.
Okay.
I learned all this because I had no other choice. I was given the gift of desperation. And I mean that. I can talk a little bit about the situation that led.
Don't just keep going, man. We don't need to know the what, just how.
But I say, if you are not in a desperate position, most of the people I coach and work with are not in desperate positions, but a desperate position can give you quite a bit of enlightenment. It really speaks to the fact that, just to encourage people that are watching and listening, don't shun the downturns in your life. Don't shy away. Sometimes those are the most fertile grounds for growth, but to the question of, I was facing a complete financial and personal Niagara Falls. And I knew that myself and everything else, including all the worst things in my life at that moment, these were all just different perspectives of the same thing. So if that's true, if this is really all the same thing, then why the hell does this suck so bad? How could that even be happening? Because it's not what I want. It wasn't what I worked for, and so
all
on.
The things, right? Yeah.
And I didn't have anything left to lose, so I said, well, there's got to be a way that I could. What if I changed myself? And I knew that our subconscious maintains a low wall security. Once it inherited those beliefs, it keeps them safe by not understanding word-based communication, not understanding logic, and only vibing with emotions that match what's already in there.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
There's a whole science behind. It's not doing that to be our enemy. It's really keeping us alive and safe.
Yeah,
great at that job. But what I learned is that the security of the subconscious, it's firm, but it is low wall. And if we allow ourselves to be where we are, if we agree to meet ourselves where we are in this area of our life. Because here's the thing, is go back to relationships, but it could be money, career, your health. It could be anything that's important enough to care that much about it.
Right.
If we're in a position where we're looking for ways to improve it, we've probably been spending quite a bit of time thinking about it in the ways that we feel we ought to, in the ways we feel we should, because for those who have had some exposure to manifesting and the law of attraction, one of the biggest misconceptions is that our feelings are the source of our reality.
Okay.
We've already talked about our beliefs are the source of our reality.
Right.
The feelings aren't the source. So we tend, but because of that misconception, we tend to shun the bad feelings because they hurt.
Right.
They're not, but also, well, man, if I allow myself to wallow in that, I'm just going to perpetuate it.
Right.
And so it creates this scenario, going back to relationships, when we say, oh, I need to stay positive about this. I need to think that, the best thoughts, and and those are great things to do. Those are not ever bad things to do. But in these hard to reach areas of our life, when we're hitting that glass ceiling and it's become too frustrating because of how hard we've been working and how bad we want it and what our intent is, and, and so on and so forth.
Right.
That's time. That's an invitation.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
To meet ourselves where we are.
If you look at history, or just pay attention, like mad. So many of these organizations came into existence to help people because, some some parents' kid got killed by a drunk driver, or, so these beautiful things come out to help other people out of these tragic, desperate situations. So I get that. Let me ask you this question. And I got a whole bunch. So give me a quick answer to this one.
All right.
I love the way you talk about your relationship now. So your soulmate, your spiritual partner. Did you get remarried, or did you just have this spiritual person?
Well, I got remarried.
Okay.
And I'll tell you how powerful intention.
So I assumed as much because I see the wedding ring, but I love the way I love the way you don't say wife. I love the way you define her or him in the terms of all the other words except for spouse. That was great. I'm serious, and I pay attention to everything. So I was like, that's dope. But I had to ask the question because I think it's very meaningful. So here's my next question.
Yeah.
Religion or spirituality?
I've got, there's some very important people in my life to whom religion is very important.
Okay.
And I can completely vibe with that, and we can talk, and we can.
You're trying to be politically correct, bro. You are trying to be politically correct. Religion or spirituality?
Oh, you just want me to say, spirituality all day long.
There you go, man. There you go. I grew up religious. I went to Catholic grade school, Catholic high school. I was raised Pentecostal in the family unit. I got more religion than the man on the moon. But to me, in order to do and live the life that you're talking about, you have to have a personal spiritual relationship, because the rituals aren't going to get you there. Standing and sitting and kneeling and bowing and standing and sitting and kneeling at the exact same time at the exact same service on every Saturday or Sunday is not going to get you the growth that you seek alone. I'm not saying it's not meaningful. I'm just saying alone. So I wanted to ask you that. Now, the next question, and I'm hurrying you along, not because we have a time delay. It's just because I really respect your insights, and I got a lot of questions. So my next question for you is, and it's not even a question per se, but you keep talking about, I shouldn't say keep, you've mentioned the fourth dimension, space and time.
Right.
You mentioned it several times. But I get the feeling that you're saying that's the box that we live in, but there's more outside of that box. Am I incorrect or correct in what I'm deriving from what you've said so far?
Correct.
Okay, but so what is that? Now you can go as long as you want. So what is that outside of that
Looking
most
at my
people?
watch.
No, we don't. I don't. You might have another appointment.
Oh, no.
Cool.
I mean, how much time do I have? This is one of my favorite topics right now, because I get super fascinated by different things, and I stay fascinated by time. But yeah, this is a box. Although I don't usually call it a box because it sounds confining, and I don't believe that we are confined. I believe that we are here to have this experience, and this experience is an experience of process, of growth. It's a linear experience, which means that it's an experience that is governed by time.
Right.
And time is a construct. It's an individual experience. It's created by the individual. Derick, you are manifesting time just as you are manifesting everything else. Time does not exist as a universal law. And we already know this. I mean, it's very plain. There are parts of most all of the universe as we study it and unpack it. There's no time, just like there's no cause and effect and that sort of thing. There's no separation. Which
is really interesting because I have heard there's no time, or read that, believe that, understand the concept. I'd never heard there's no cause and effect. So that's a new one that I'm processing as you share with this. But before you go back to your answer, and I do want you to go back, I'm not cutting you off whatsoever. I just want everyone that's listening to know that they can get more and more and more if they go to Manifest the Big Stuff, just like it sounds, manifestthebigstuff.com. You can get more about what Greg's sharing. You can get access to his Facebook group, to his private one-on-one coaching, to the 13. I'm adding books because he has more to write. I know he's written 9, but you get to the 9 books that he's written, to his philosophies, his strategies, his insights. You can get more at manifestthebigstuff.com. Go ahead, Greg.
One of the quantum experiments that I coach people to perform in my intentional manifesting coaching program is to put into use the very literal knowledge of no time. I mean, obviously there's time, Derick, right? I mean, the minute that something takes form here in this, universe that we're manifesting, it begins to go away, or it starts a ticking clock toward disappearing. So there is time in our experience, but it's just in our experience, which means that whether we believe it or not, whether we want to tap into it or not, whether we want to utilize it or not, all past iterations of Derick and all future iterations of Derick are happening right now.
Right.
So what
that all of the multiverse, people are loving this.
Well, yeah, I mean, because think about this too. What does that literally means? That we could apply we could remember the future. There's no reason that we can't remember the future. It's happening right now, just like the past is happening right now.
Right.
We're just not constructed that way, to the best of my guess. But we are 100% connected to all those past and future iterations of us energetically.
Right.
So here, just as an example, what I do is I like to take this science and apply it to my life. So a really cool way to do this is to be super intentional. Now, you can keep it private if you think somebody would make fun of you for doing it. But be super intentional about thanking past iterations of you for anything that you're glad you did. And also be very intentional about saying you're welcome to future iterations of yourself because future you is thanking you right now for all the great stuff that you are doing for yourself in this moment.
Right.
And when I think about the things that I've done, like I might look back and say, man, I am so grateful, Greg, that you took each of your sons on an individual trip to Chicago one-on-one while they were young, young men.
Right.
What an awesome, you are reaping the dividends of that wonderful decision and that action that you took. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Now, past Greg, I'm thanking him because he did it. The reason he did it is because I'm thanking him. How about that?
Wow. Dude, I was just talking about this with my son the other day. He didn't really get into the Terminator. And I don't know if you did or not. Did you get into the Terminator?
Oh, I love the Terminator.
Yeah. And so we were talking about something. I said, it's just like Terminator, right? He came back to kill the person that the guy followed him into the warp to current times that he conceived the kid. It was, the whole thing is a time thing. It's amazing concept. Let me skip and ask you this question, because I personally have an answer of what I believe, and we've been talking about belief the whole time. What do you think about psychics and psychic predictions?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I think while you're thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, I don't go to those people and never been attracted to them, because I personally believe from a religious perspective, it's a prophet or prophetess or a tarot card reader or, whatever. I think all of them are just tapping into one potential vibration of what could happen in my life, or, just one of the million of things that could happen. And so therefore it's no use to me to know.
Yeah.
In case you guys are just listening, Greg's laughing at me.
Because you know what? I agree with you. I think that in some respects, physicians are psychics in that respect.
Okay.
They look at you and say, "Oh, I'm going to predict what future you is going to be like," and therefore recommend. And of course, we ask them to do that.
Of course.
It's like a psychic, but I don't know that I would want to go to a psychic either, because I wouldn't want to know. Well, even if they had the ability to tell me, I'd rather not know.
Well, same here. But I still believe, even based on what you're saying, I would think that you would have to believe that if they are tapping into something, they're reading your palm or whatever, it's just one of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of paths that I could take.
Yeah. And let's both, I know that you would agree with this, that, let's acknowledge that certainly there are people who are schooled in psychology that are not using psychic ability, but We're talking about it under the pretense that somebody can actually do that.
Right.
And I would say, Derick, and I don't have the name right in front of me right now, but if anybody wants to Google this, I think it's Arizona State University. There's some double-blind research there that proves definitively that people can become coherent with other people, even though they're in two separate Faraday cages, which is a research artifice that prevents any sort of energy from
absolutely, bro. But not just people. Have you heard about the study where they put a camera in someone's house? The owner went on a trip. You heard about this?
With the dogs?
The dogs. And the owner's like, okay, we're going to go home early. And the dog got all excited. Like, dad's coming home. And they've done these studies with, far distances. It's like, wow, this is incredible. So everything is energy, like you're saying. And it's not just limited to us people. It's limited to everything. It's unlimited to everything. Man, what a great conversation. What do we need to know to diminish the stress, or to potentially diminish the stress in our lives that you might share or focus on with your coaching clients?
I think the first thing, the most important thing to start with, is to understand and I mean this in the most literal way, you are not responsible for the beliefs you inherited. You're not your beliefs. You have beliefs, but you're not defined by them.
Mm-hmm.
You are empowered to grow them if that's something you would like to do. You get to do that. However, anybody to blame yourself for these very displeasing versions of reality you're manifesting, and I'm not suggesting that we couldn't have done things. We could have done things better. There's things we did that caused the harm. I mean, of course. We can deconstruct anything in four-dimensional space-time, and that's all very real. What I mean is the beliefs you inherited that are manifesting this version of yourself and your life that are so displeasing, you're not responsible for that. You can grow those beliefs, though. Another scientific fountainhead for us here is systems theory. A system, we know that when a system is changed, it automatically changes its environment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's no stretch to say and understand that you're a system, Derick. I'm a system. Human beings, we are systems. We are systems of systems. And if we want to change our environment, which we often do, who doesn't? What better way to do it than to change ourselves to change it? Because when we do it that way, which is intentional manifesting, that is intentionally manifesting my life, right? When I do it that way, I get to be the source of the change. It doesn't mean it'll happen exactly like I want, but I get to be the source of it. So what offers me a better potential? I also, since it's me, I get to do it anywhere and at any time. Circumstances will not dictate my ability to do it. Will they impact it? Hell yes, they will impact it.
Right.
But they will not control me.
Mm-hmm.
Even, somebody like Viktor Frankl, like a famous example of somebody that was in a Nazi concentration camp. And I think he watched his wife and his parents and his other relatives get killed in the gas chamber. But he came to have pity for his Nazi captors.
Right.
Because he was in control of his state of being. Right. That's the advantage of following systems theory here and focusing on intentionally manifesting our life differently by growing those inherited beliefs into alignment with our desires. And it's not rocket science.
Right. That's the cool part. Well, man, we're going to have you back. I want to talk about free-form journaling when you come back. I want to talk about the system. I think that is incredibly insightful and important. And I like the way you put it. We're all systems, and you need a new system because we can all relate to systems, even if it's at work. And I don't think many people think of themselves as a system, but it is what we do. So I want to talk about the free-form journaling when the next time we connect. I want to talk about the need of a new systems. I'm going to talk again about system theory. Because I don't know a lot about that. So I want to know more. I want to know more about that, which means that we hope that the people that are listening want to know more about that. Do you have anything that you'd like to share to the 24K Life community before we jump off?
Yes, absolutely. I just want to throw it back to you. This conversation has had me revving the whole time. I loved it. I mean, I feel like we could keep talking for 5 hours.
We absolutely could.
And I want to say that when I saw your podcast, I got excited because one of the reasons is that I tend to work with successful people, and successful people have hard to reach areas of their life that are frustrating them. the client I was just referring to she's a 6-figure entrepreneur, but she knows that more is possible. So we're working the belief raising process together, or I'm coaching. I shouldn't say we're working it together. I work it on my own all the time, but you know what I mean?
Right. I know what you mean.
And I would say this is what I would say. And I think this will reinforce, because a lot of people I work with, it's not that I'm coaching them to learn to do something that they don't know how to do. I find I wind up coaching them to do this part of their life, to learn to do this part of their life the way they're already successfully doing other parts of their life. But, you know, that glass ceiling has been there. Those inherited beliefs are incapable. When our inherited beliefs are incapable, there's nothing we can do about that except grow them. I'll say this, and this is what I was getting to. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of successful people, which is why I was excited about your podcast. One of the things, a common thread that runs through the most successful people, and something that I admire and embody to the best of my ability, is a willingness to be informed by the life they manifest rather than be defined by it.
Nice. I like that. All right, brother. I appreciate it. We could have 8 more episodes as far as I'm concerned and probably still not scratch the surface. But, you know, for those of you, again, that want more, like I want more, go to Manifesting the Big Stuff. I'm going to go check out. Let me ask you this question super quick before I let you go. Do you start with book 1? Are you recommending that people start with book 1 and go through, or you have a specific book of the 9 books that, by the way, I commend you for having 9 books. I wrote 1 and I was like, oh God, yeah, I'm good. So we did decide to write a kid version of it, but because what you're talking about, I don't know if you have a kid version, but you know, just imagine what you've done with your boys. At what age you started doing it, the age that you had your despair and you got a foothold, is probably the time you started instilling some of these things, because that was your system. But anyway, I'm not encouraging you to write another book, but but just imagine if kids could get access to this information so much earlier, they would be so much more and better prepared. But anyway, do you have a book that you recommend of your 9 books, or should they start at the first one?
I think, let's see, if I were going to read them, I'd read them backward. I would read them.
Really?
I'd go with the new one in September. I mean, not because they need to be read in that order, but I think it would be interesting to, you know, each one is a little bit different, at least a little bit, in the sense that I don't ever write anything except how I'm living. I don't ever write or talk about anything except how I'm living. Things that I do that work, that have allowed me to manifest my life. Okay. More aligned with, so the most recent, I'm not saying is, I don't know if it's the best or not, but I would start with the most recent, the one.
I like that answer, because you're really, well, shouldn't say you're really saying. My interpretation of what you're saying is that, look, I'm writing how I'm living, so I'm living the good life. So go ahead and skip to the end and start there. That's what I heard you say, bro.
But you know what? It's funny you asked that, because this morning I woke up and someone was sending me a message on Facebook that, hey, Greg, I just recently read your book, Why Quantum Physicists Play Grow a Greater You. And, wow, it's changing my life. I especially love this chapter. It's incredibly eye-opening, the way you explained it. And, I'm like, wow, what a great thing. And when I hear something like that, my first thought is, well, thank you, because you're the one manifesting me, Right.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for manifesting me that way. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to even be that person.
Right.
That's, so he's talking about a book that's 3 books ago. Well, yeah, I love that book.
Yeah.
And I messaged him back and told him those things I just shared with you.
Excellent.
And then also I said, well, let me know what you think of the newest book too. Yeah.
Thanks, Greg. Well, we want to thank you for spending your valuable time, your incredible insights. And again, we want everybody to go and check you out, manifesting the big stuff. Thanks again, man. I will talk to you soon. All right. I say this every episode. You heard it. I don't know what else to tell you. I can recap it for you, but look, you are in control of creating the you want to be. You've done it this far. You've created the you this far. And he wouldn't go as far as to say, he said you're not responsible for your beliefs from when you were born, from when you were young. He wouldn't go as far as to say you will become responsible for what you decide to believe as you move forward. I will say it. I don't know if he believes that or not. I won't speak for him. At some point, you have to take ownership, radical ownership for what you absorb, what you believe, and where you intentionally go moving forward if you want to go forward. We all want you to have the life that you desire. We want you to have the life that you dream of. Like Greg said, you're going to dream of a life. Hopefully you're going to attain it, and then you're going to have a new dream. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you like, share, and most importantly, share this with people that are in despair, that are people that are struggling, people that are hitting that glass ceiling that Greg talked about, so that they can bust through that thing. That's why it's glass, because you get to bust right through it. So with that, hey, thanks so much for watching. I'm thanking you in advance. Like Greg said, I'm thanking the future me for hosting this and finding Greg. I'm thanking Greg for joining us and wanting to share his insights. Hey, I'm Derick Gant. Be your best. Bring your best. Leave nothing to chance.